Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhate girim yat kripatamaham vande parmanand madhavam. Swami, please think through me, feel through me, speak through me, act through me, behave through me, conduct through me. Sairam. Sairam, Sairam, brothers and sisters. I'll just push it a bit. Yeah. Okay. So, last time we left on a particular topic that we'll try to discuss. Now with the weekly satsang, we may not be able to pick up individual topic each week because it requires some sort of preparation, and but we can continue a topic for a couple of weeks or something like that. And I think this session is going to go last till May, right? The SSC. Okay, fair enough. So satsang, dating the divine, correct? So we are dating him now. Okay. Does it come? Yeah. So there is some point of time we miss the calls and he's trying to call us, right? We say Bhagwan sunta nahi hai. But it's a reverse, it's the other way around, right? Because the transmitter is very, very active. It's like a sunlight, it's all prevalent. We don't open the windows, we don't get it. So it's an important part for us. He is there, his signal is there, he's constantly standing by as he did for so many of them, right? And do we want to accept the call? And what is this call? What are the signals of the call? That's very, very important for us to catch, right? When he's calling. Now, it's only in the depth of silence the voice of God is heard, right? Or in the depth of misery or struggle that we go through, we are able to pray and send the missed call or try to establish a call, correct? So in either of the cases, are we ready to pick up his call? The first prerequisite is, have we programmed ourselves? Have we put in that sim, Sai in me? That's the first mode. What is Sai in me? Sai in me, basically, it's a very elevated stage, but in the initial stages, when you put a sim in your phone, you have enabling it to start receiving. But does it mean you'll get a call? No. You have to be in the region where the signals are, right? Just putting a sim doesn't have. Just being calling yourself Sai devotee or you start going to bhajan doesn't mean that you have started able to connect. It's like going to a mandir, correct? So we go to a mandir, we go and pray, but it becomes a very one-way passage. And why we are happy going to a mandir and the gurdwaras and the churches is because we don't get a response. The response in the sense, suppose God were to appear. Suppose you realize in your every activity at home that Swami is present and watching. You will definitely divinize and purify. But there will be a lot of times when you want to crib about, when you're talking about, you don't want him to hear him, right? We say that Bhagwan to hai. You offer prasad, you offer ornaments, ahutis. If the God was really to accept it, you will stop offering. Why? Because you didn't think that it's going to be that way. It's a lost transaction, right? So it's very important not only to have the sim, not only to go to the bhajans. This is the first prerequisite that we must load the program, right? Whatever masters we believe for us in Swami, it will remain Swami because through Janma something good we have done. Now when we do that, then we start into the more satsangat way, right? We get into a satsang of thoughts, words, deeds, get into seva, get into any kind of environment which elevates your vibration level. You can clearly see that. You go to some of the bhajans sometimes Thursdays, suddenly some bhajan kicks you off and you are completely drowned in it. That vibration level, it's one to heart. It's very difficult to explain you where you get it, but that is what satsang does. It is not a congregation where we are sitting and talking only. It's somewhere where you're lost in the thoughts of Bhagwan, when you're lost in Radio Sai videos, you listen to somebody's experiences, it matches yours, something going on, and then you get lost. So that is satsangat way. So once we load the same, it's important we enter into the satsang mode. Now, is it enough? No. Satsangat way, then we have to go into nisangatvam. Then you have to start withdrawing, getting into solitude. Loneliness and solitude, they're two different things. Solitude is you choose. Loneliness you are imposed with due to circumstances. परिस्थिति को कभी भी मनोस्थिति को बदलने नहीं देना चाहिए. Manusthiti can change the paristhiti. That means the circumstances should not be allowed to change your being. Your mindset should be able to change the circumstances. It's only then when you go within Nisangatve that you start tuning in. You can't tune into Bhagavan in the horde of congregation of people and then bhajans, because you need a very unique focus. It's like the magnifying lens where you need the rays to pierce into one point. Correct? Otherwise, Maharishis sitting in the Himalayas doing yogas, tapas for ages, they don't get a glimpse. And when I say this, there is one anecdote where there is one devotee from Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Mandle. We know him well because he used to come to our place also to do the bhajan training. He has heard it from the horse's mouth. So Mandleji in his 70s, when he just knew Swami, he started bhajans. And suddenly in one of the bhajans onwards, Thursday, he saw a huge flow of devotees. He couldn't understand, because it was not a very well-grown organization that time. So he apparently asked on the second or the third week that, it's so nice to see you all, but what brings you here, So they said, एक साधु हम लोग को railway station में भेजता है. There is one sadhu in the railway station who is sending me. And he said, well, let me go and find out. So he goes there and he sees the sadhu there. And that guy is, and they don't know, sadhu is knowing exact address of Mandleji. He goes and then he says, Acha, aap aa gaye. Sadhu knows, aap aa gaye, you came. So Mandleji is trying to touch his feet and that sadhu says, no, don't do that. Allow me to prostrate. And he prostrated and touched Mandleji's feet. And he's saying, why? मैं आपको बताता हूँ. I'll tell you. Then he goes on to say that he's Swami Shivanand's Shishya, disciple, which this sadhu. And he apparently was narrating the incident when Swami went to the Himalayas. Swami went to Dr. Sivanandji's ashram. That time Sivanandji used to move in the wheelchair. कब गए थे? Haridwar. He went, I think, 70s. There's an anecdote, right? And he was moving the wheelchair. He's saying that he saw that his guru and Swami were like, moving around like well-known acquaintances for long. And then Swami touched and his feet was okay. Shivanandji's. So he's telling that. Swami spent some time, and then after Shivanandji left, he handed over to this sadhu that you carry on with this, whatever the propagation is. So he wanted then to know, ye kaun hai? Who is this Sai Baba? Where is he from? So somehow he wandered around and he came to know about Puttaparthi. So when he was, I think, in Bangalore station or somewhere, I'm not getting very clear, but he got a message. Swami, he went to Puttaparthi and he had the desire to have darshan and this, but Swami was not there. And then he got the voice, Akashvani, your time has not come now. You continue your sadhana. Okay? And this is what he was, or he got an interview, I'm listing him. And then what happened? He goes back to the railway station to go back because that's a command given. And he's sleeping, deep sleep. You know what? When he gets up, it's completely pitch dark. Completely dark. And he was in the platform. Then he opens his eyes. He finds himself in the same gufa of Himalayas where he used to meditate. And where he was in the Bangalore station. So Swami actually teleported him to his Himalayas. And from there, when he came, apparently for something to Madhya Pradesh, somewhere around, that's the time this sadhu came to the platform, then he knew that Mandle is a devotee, and then he got that message, this is a center, and he said, I started sending devotees to your place because of Bhagwan Baba, because I know they are looking for you, and unka jirnodhar ho jaye. And mujhe abhi command nahi mila. I have not got the message to really go to Puttaparthi and do this. So that is why I'm prostrating, because आपके हाथों ने उनके चरणों को छुआ. Your hands have touched his feet, so you're holier than me. And he prostrated. So this is what happens when the God.
So this makes this is the timing, right? So I just want to indicate not a story. Real thing. I think you must have heard about Dr. B. Mohan. He's a very famous He's a very, very famous diabetic doctor. In Tamil Nadu, there is chain of hospitals with his name, Dr. You can check in the internet. So now he's a trustee of
Central Trust.
But he was not a side devotee previously. And I don't tell, I heard his speech and read his books and things like that. But I really want to mention one point, the time, what just mentioned. How he come to Saifold and all, he narrated very nicely. But one thing is, he was not a side devotee, and he was a non-vegetarian as well. Basically, he was a non-vegetarian. And so he came to Saifold as a doctor. In Puttaparthi, there was a conference done for the diabetic doctors all over India. A lot of doctors. He also selected from Tamil Nadu because he's the most famous. He got Padma Shri. This doctor we know already got Padma Shri. Very respected doctor in Tamil Nadu. So he came to Saifold that way and attended. So that time everybody talking about vegetarianism, and he got a doubt. How protein will get? He's a non-vegetarian. He will not, in our normal food there is no protein. So how I get the protein? So he's not very interested. But so happened when he went to the bookstore, he took one book and opened. The same book talks about, Swami talks about how a vegetarian person can get protein. He talks about a lot of kind of powerful, what you can say, seeds, pulses, seeds that is vegetarian, and the paneer or curd, whatever. So like that, he gave a lot of things. Vegetarian people got a lot of options for protein. Okay. So he got simply, but it's a kind of coincidence for him. Because he is not, as I mentioned, he's still not in this fold, right? So let me cut the story short. He came slowly inside thing, and one thing is, but he's still non-vegetarian. He eat egg, fish, and all these things. Okay, but so happened last week, Swami, he told about that the Tamil Nadu Sai Center organization president, he passed away in Kolkata. That occasion he already told how we can go from passed away in the Kolkata hall itself in Swami's presence. After that, the position is vacant, and everybody asking when you are going to select new president. Swami told, time is not reached, I'll tell you. Okay, so this was going on because all this payment for the people, check signing, banks, things, all formalities are signed. President is executive position. He has to sign a lot of the things, right? All pending. So from Tamil Nadu, Swami is getting a lot of pressure. Select one person. Swami says wait. So another side, in this fellow's house, means Dr. Mohan's house, he used to have his own way of prayers, right? So one day, in his home, his landline, no mobile that time, okay, rang, and his wife took the phone and then told that this call is from Puttaparthi. Somebody from office called. Swami wants to talk to Dr. Bhima. Okay. So during the time, okay, what happened is he was doing some kind of his own meditation of his own prayers and all, right? He slowly shifted from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. That's a change happened during the period. Mohan changed from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. That time only the call came. Then Mohan was there, so Mohan picked up the phone. Then Swami is on the other line, speaking to Mohan over phone, saying that, hey Mohan, are you able to take the position of Tamil Nadu president? Swami is requesting Dr. Mohan. So, are you comfortable or are you agreed taking the permission from Dr. Mohan? See, Dr. Mohan at that time still, as I told you, was just transition from as a real side. Let me think. Let me think. I never thought about that. Let me think that I am okay to take it. Okay, you think and it takes time. and inform that. Swami put the phone. Then his wife, his wife is very hard. We don't. She's the one already pulled into the Swami's old age talking about Swami. So doctor told the wife, who called Swami? Swami called. Already you are calling Swami, Swami, sir. Swami, this is happening. Swami is calling you. Yeah. Then what he told us, he requested me. Then his wife, what you told? I let me think. What is there to think? Because you are selected by whom? In the Oscar, if you give, that is exact wording people. If you give an Oscar award, that is selected by few people. They are not different from the winner. It's not greater than winner or sometimes. You know, many times the juries are not great people than those who are award winners. That's how many times those who are judging the winners are not as qualified as the winners. Many times. You can see that many kind of awards are given. Yeah. Those who are judging are below that those who are winning the award. So here it's so tough, right? So Swami himself is coming and asking you whether you say good thing, go and take it without any. So he replied back to the office and say that I am that he's become president of Tamil Nadu. Later, slowly he became, now he's a trustee of Satsang Central Organization in Bhoga. Now he's another trustee. So what point is, Swami was waiting for this move, because he has to take a bigger position, he has to give that. Time is not his one, this fellow is not eligible criteria, meeting the eligible criteria. So Swami is making you eligible. Second point. One is time. Second, there was used to be Swami is preparing you to take that position of Tamil Nadu president. Means when he is a very role model to be going to be, right? You go on technical qualities, whatever professional qualities, or disciplinary. But one thing Swami found that he should be a vegetarian. This is missing from our company. Swami waited for that. Let him move from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. Until it reached, then it is that allocated. Now he is a very full-time devotee, full-time devotee, and after that, Mohan got so much, lot of experience he wrote. How he appeared in his hospital, cured people, those patients and all.
You must see that.
Okay. That is amazing because the patients in this hospital, some Muslim person and all, Swami's physically appeared and cured the patient. And also, he used to talk, but still he's Dr. Mohan, very active and very, very eminent person, very respected person. That's what, even though such position he is, Swami waited for him, allocate the position. Swami waited for his permission. Swami waited for me to be eligible for that. Swami support to that. This is what I tell connectivity.
Yeah. So that's also important when you get a call like he got it. It was his fortune from previous life that Swami said, okay, I'll wait for you. But for some of us, we have to be in a state of readiness. There's no question. When God gives you responsibility, He showers ability as well. That's called Shakti Path. कोई भी जिम्मेदारी अगर देंगे तो शक्ति पाद आपके अंदर कर देंगे. He will make you eligible for that job. He will not give you a job. Like he has got people. I was listening to one of the Gavaskars, Sunil Gavaskar, ex-India captain, and he is from Maharashtra, right? And one time Swami said, okay, go and speak on Bakrid. Bakrid is one of the festivals of the Muslims. And he just didn't know, but he got up, he went there. He doesn't know those 10 minutes what he spoke. But apparently years later, some student from there, sir, that day you said fantastic on Bakrid. Then he realized, oh, it's the same story. He doesn't know what he spoke because Swami spoke through him. So Swami will make sure that your eligibility criteria is fulfilled, right? Because he's one in all. So again, transiting Satsangatve, when you get into your solitude, it is Nisangatvam, right? And then what happens is, from there we move on to Nirmohatva, right? Getting into that, now you start understanding Nirmohatvam is not about running away with families or getting to the forest. Yes, we have to go to the forest. Forest means for rest. That means where you put your mind at rest. And that's what he told Poparji, that tum fasting ka baat karta hai. You're talking about fasting. When will you fast your mind? And again, all the attachment and the circle and all this is originating from big ego, right? Then it has got offshoots like desires, like your manas, your chitta, your buddhi, ahankara, and then all the sub parts appear. So important part of the journey is nirmohatve, and then from nirmohatve, it is not enough. We have loaded the sim, correct? We started with the sim. We said, okay, we'll go to Swami's activity, we go to Swami Center, listen to bhajan, start it, but is that enough? No, we go to Satsang. Is that enough? No, then we go to Nisangatve. Is that enough? No, Nirmohatve. And is that enough? No, because we are doing all, but where is the Chitta Shuddhi, which is the objective of the organization? Where Bhagwan said, I've come here to rekindle the divinity within. And how can that happen? Until your Chitta Shuddhi, the clean slate that he left us into this world with, has been completely scribbled, correct? If the board is full, blackboard is full written, where is the place to write? We got to unlearn, we got to wipe it out. And that Chitta Shuddhi happens when we start practicing. Now the point of practical comes, correct? We have in exam theoretical marks and practical. You can't pass an exam without practical. And that practical is applying it. It's called applied spirituality. We have applied chemistry, applied physics, applied everything. This is applied spirituality. What we learn in the Bal Vikas, what we talk about and hear from different senior devotees, from Bhagwan's messages, start applying bit by bit. That is such an important, which leads us to Nishal Tattva. That is, you have started cleansing our hearts. The Chitta Shuddhi has started. Why? Because at least let us say, purity in living place. Let's keep it clean, pure. And from the point of view, sometimes some of us may not have the necessary ability to keep it clean financially or whatever, or we are ill, we can't move around, we are alone in the house, correct? But the very pining, if you could allow me, if you could enable, that pining becomes the purification process. There was Sister Geeta Mohan Ram, she talks about that particular incident so many times. She said there was this devotee Bhagwan in Bangalore. When Swami decided to visit, they were going to somewhere else, and then he said, okay, turn the car. And then he knew. So this lady had a massive bungalow and all, they were quite okay off. But then one fine time, her children came and sold everything, and she was then left into the outhouse, which has got one room or something. And they all moved to US or wherever it is. And the Swami decided to bless this devotee of hers, and she was alone with a helper sometimes coming in. And when actually Swami came in, she was lying on bed. She could not move. So she told the helper to get a chair. Swami is specifying, don't worry about all this. The paraphernalia is not for my true devotees. And then she wanted to light a lamp, correct? So Swami wanted to light the lamp in front of his own photograph. So as he's going to light, now she's feeling embarrassed because there's no oil in the house. Kaise karega mera Bhagwan ko? Then Swami asked Sister Geeta Mohan Ram, she was very small, go and get some water. Poured with vibhuti, poured it, and it was burning. This is what he does. He doesn't need all that. Nishal Tattva is purity of the heart, is the highest sadhana. So purity of vision, when we are seeing, you pick up any of the quadrants in this, what it is displayed. And we actually start week by week or day by day or moment by moment, at least that 5 minutes I have thought I will not think anything evil. I will not see anything wrong. And then we start expanding, because it's not something that will happen suddenly, or because of the janmas, sanskaras, and the vasanas that have been put on a mental sheet. It will take time. But if we start this, then we are going to reach to Nishal Tattva. Otherwise, all your Satsangatva, Nisangatva, Nirmohatva, everything is gone a waste. Why? Because we haven't purified our intent, our content. We haven't purified heart, head, and hand, the three to come together. We have purified the mind, but not the heart, or the heart, but not the hand. So this is doing something else. So it's an important part of the journey where Nishal Tattvam, that is, we come back to that state who finally culminate into liberation. Because end of the day is to rekindle the divinity, as Bhagavan has said, right? And that Jivan Mukti is only after these ladders have been crossed. Unless His grace falls on somebody that every rule is bypassed, off you go. Like Mahatma Buddha, he earned his way through, right? It was a tough life. For years, he left food. He was starving himself, thinking because some of the gurus told him, "ये अन्न जो है, ये तुम्हारा मन भटकाता है," and then you have to go for fasting. Till he was able to. And that particular night, when he was going to collapse, die, he realized this is not leading me. I need this body to realize. That's what Swami Yogananda says. If death gives you liberation, let's all jump into the well next to our ashram. We'll get a liberation. Is that the case? So he toiled his way, but there are some devotees who just get it with a Swami's grace that yes, you will not have any birth in life. Have you ever heard those stories about it? So it's important to understand the sequence, how his call is important, like brothers Sri was talking about it. Are we ready to accept? Have we made our chitta so clean that his call can come and we can hear it? That's a very important thing. And that's why we think, why Swami is not talking to us? Because we have not made it clean. We have completely neglected this part of the journey to keep it clean, right? The purpose of human birth is rekindle the divinity within by intuition, giving the tuition within. What you get within, that is the intuition. Become independent instead of getting outside. When you say, I'm a self-made man. A lot of time you see youth saying, I'm a self-made man. God wonders, but the life, prana force I had put in there. How you're a self-made man? Your mother gave you birth. Your father brought you up. The society gave you education. How come you say you are a self-made man? So in the process of trying to be a superhuman, we have forgotten that being human itself is such a super thing, right? Jantunam narajanma durlabham. So what we have, जिंदगी का यही रोना है, जो मिल गया मिट्टी, जो खो गया वो सोना है. What we have got, we have not valued it enough. This life, by Bhagwan's grace, we are walking, we are talking, we are seeing. Don't we think it is such an important part of His Karuna that we all know we can get up and walk back. We all know we can see when we go back. Imagine when you go to the wards, like sometime our office arranged for a terminal illness wards here. We went there, as a part of the CSR, whatever. And you go the people who have a sentence given for 3 months, remaining 2 months remaining, and you talk to them. When are we going to be grateful about things? It's an important part. Huh. Yes. Yes. No. Yes.
And such a person, his time hasn't come.
True. Time hasn't come.
So I was going to narrate an incident of Swami Sivananda. He was wheelchair bound. He used to be a wheelchair. Same person.
Yes. Can you come on this chair? Then the mic is here. All those online.
Yeah, so the narration is something like that. Swami came to his ashram, and he was wheelchair bound. He had asthma. He couldn't very quickly he will lose his breath. So people used to take him on the wheelchair. So one time Swami brought some jari booty or some patta, right?
Herbs,
some leafy, some herb. And he asked somebody to bring that. And he took the bunch and divided it into 2 parts. And told Swami Sananda, eat this. So Swami Sananda, we complied. He started eating. Beyond me. And he said, I use all my spiritual, this is just Maya, this is a tongue and reaction between tongue and this, and he didn't feel anything about it. And then it's great. I just complete that half of thing I ate. Other half Swami was holding. And so Swami said, now eat this half also. He said, I didn't understand how to even go his single leaf of it was beyond bitter. Yeah? So when he started eating that, it was sweet in taste.
Oh.
The same thing, Swami just took and randomly went to the gym, and it was very sweet, and I ate all that. And by the time I stayed there for quite some time, by the time Swami left the ashram, he was himself walking
Walking.
Swami, and the first time he
Yeah.
here, he was walking with Swami and showing him
Yes,
this,
yes,
this,
yes,
this is
yes.
our, this program we do here, that thing.
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to
True.
learn.
Good, good. That's what the sadhu told me. If you, maybe I'll try to find the link. Mandleji's experience. It's beautiful. Imagine sadhu was teleported back to Himalaya when he gets up. Why? Because your time is not there.
Yeah,
And
that is one story, but even after having such a good qualification that
yes,
he is still not allowed because
in the ashram.
yeah, in the ashram. So a long back I remember Shirdi Baba told that you people think that you can just come and get up and come to Shirdi. It is not that like that. If I don't will,
You will not come.
you won't be able
This is absolutely certain, and we have seen. I can tell you many cases. In my case, also, I told you about a devotee, Sadhana devotee, who was sitting next to me, and in Bangalore, Ramesh Fall. And when Swami comes, everybody's focused on Swami. You don't care what's happening around. Even my mom was keeping my Yash in a god. She's suddenly putting her aside, and then she's on her own. I mean, this is how it is. And this guy went into deep sleep. Huh? He could not get up. So I nudged a couple of times, and then I just left it. Why? Because, I mean, Swami is there. You do this or you do that. So for his benefit, I did. But he was asleep. Even if you cannot have his darshan. There are people who go for canteen for the breakfast, they rush canteen, right? Those days, Swami suddenly will come earlier. And then those who are having the nice sambar vada, vinito. Bhagavan comes and goes. So even though you are there, you will not have the darshan unless he wills it. It's a perfect, statement. Anyway, so
that's exactly right. For me also, come 30 years, 25, 28 years before, after my marriage, me and wife, we got a for after marriage. And then I was not a side hero. Okay. We stayed in a hotel, in cottage, because all hotels are full, because Sai Baba was in association. I was not interested in basically at that time. Any hotel is so, there is photos, and everybody no, we are not current working. My wife was asking me, just anyway, we are here, just go and see. Nothing going, okay? I'm not going and seeing, right? So we stayed there a week in a cottage. We never visited. But there only the huge transformation experience I had in my life, and my wife also witnessed that. And never visited, but that experience I can share another day. I shared the share some. That is what. But I never realized that. But later on, I realized it was wrong. That's all stories. But later, when I was came into Patnam, came to Sai Fort, then I could put our day. Then how gave a chance after say maybe 15 years after that incident. And I went. There was no opportunity in Kodaikanal. There was no rush to meet him. I never met. Stayed 1 week in cottage. Next, somewhere in this ashram. Near the lake, I stayed in cottage. I never. But after 15 years, again, I went from here to Puttaparthi as a single person without, when we just go Puttaparthi, say Swami, thank you and come back. That was my objective. Just like that. Morning flight I went with simply a bag with 1 pair of dress whites. When the how Swami made me to meet him and bless him. When time comes, he himself makes us be prepared for that. And so I need to wait another 50 years to realize that. He gave me a chance 25 to 30 years before I came home. Because after 15, 20 years, he gave, when after a lot of drama happened in my life, then he came and blessed me. He hold my hand or something. That is also in Bangalore, not in Bangalore, on the So that day, Purnima happened for me. So that is one police army physically touched me and blessed me. So this is only one. So this is what I'm saying. nobody, we can't let, but he will wait or else we have to wait. He's not waiting. He's always available. He's always available. But we have to be ready for it. We have to be eligible for it. We have to be as clean and come to that in the way eligible for it. That's also important. We should be eligible for it.
Yeah. So it is destined, it is decided by him whose time has come. Sometimes out of the way graces and you get a lot of interaction. It's again due to some accumulated merits. We don't know. He knows because he's a cosmic account holder. So punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jashurya maranam. So this is will go on and on until we realize which Bhagwan has helped to guide us so practically and beautifully in birth. I'm sure we are more empowered. He has empowered us more with a lot of sense to understand what is the true meaning of life. Why are we born not to be born again? That's what Bhagwan says. But why are we born? Because due to some unfinished agenda or the karmic traces that we have. At least if we become aware, and we are talking about purity in the previous slide, we start implying that we may be able to not add much to the Sanchit Karma once we exit. Or at least be deserving to earn his grace that he wipes out. That is there. So that's an important part. Musafir bhi tu, marg bhi tu, manzil bhi tu. You know, you are the one who is the traveler, you are the one who is the path, and you are the one which is the destination. When we unify all the three, then we have come to an understanding that Sarva Vishnu Vayam Sarva Sai Mayam. Everything is him. Correct? And when we talk about traveling, it's not about train traveling. This life, journey through life. When Swami is lighting candle in front of his own lamp, in front of his own, that means you are the one who is praying. You are the one who is eating. You are the one who is going to digest this. You are the one to whom we are offering. So everything is one. Correct? So it's an important part. The duality comes, the dvand comes. Why? Because of this I, and then seeing the world breaking into. It's like one mirror breaks into 100. The same dog gets into 100. The same person gets infected in 100 images, and then we have scattered vision. Then we have cataract. Then we need again an eye drop. Not the eye drop, but the big eye drop. Correct? So once that eye drops, then you can see the divine within. So have we chosen him? Anyatha sharanam nasti, tvameva sharanam mama. Have we taken him in his life? Because this is the journey where you will have ups and downs, crests and troughs. And those will challenge your association with Bhagwan. This will challenge faith. Yeah. Somebody in the online want to say something? No. Okay, sorry. So this is an important choice. It's a choice that he has made within us. And there are cases where unfortunately people have gone out as well from the Sai way. That is very unfortunate. We have seen a couple of lives, a very, very deeply rooted devotees, but that's different. So that's important. Is he in this journey of life? Is he a fellow traveler? He's a companion. Then this assurance comes in the Bhagavad Gita. You know the sloka, I think chapter 9, somewhere it's written, yeah. Chapter 9, sloka 34. On me fix thy mind, to me give thy devotion. To me offer thy sacrifice, me make thy obeisance. Thus having attached thyself to me and made me thy end, to me indeed you shall return, you shall come back. So that is the condition. Have we chosen you? If we have chosen you, have we fulfilled the criteria? Correct? For our eligibility. And that is surrender. Okay, that's again a different topic. But important for us to understand that unison in all that we speak here. Okay, and then he comes rushing. He is our side through the life, and when the life ends. There is one devotee who was the convener of Tamil Nadu, if I'm not mistaken. His drawback was he used to get very angry. I mean, he had a short temper basically, but a great sevadal, doing a lot of services. But he used to upset people by talking very rough and giving it back. So life progressed, and it so happened that he got some illness. I don't remember which one. He was bedridden. He was bedridden and all alone by himself. His wife was not there that time. And he was all alone. There were, bed sores. Now he was thinking and, really praying. Sometimes you take a balance, right, of life. Did I give the right thing? Did I give my the right hands? I've spent my whole life into something which I don't know. I'm alone here fighting the battle out alone, he was thinking. So the devotees they told Bhagavan that because he not, Swami doesn't know. Sometimes he plays as if he doesn't know, right? And then on fine day, Swami said, okay, let me go there. I don't remember where he was admitted, whether it was Puttaparthi or Bangalore. Before admission, subsequently. So when Swami goes to his room, his house, he's all alone, in pus, in bad shape. And he can't get up because he's bedridden. And then he looks, Swami's entering. And tears come out, he's praying, Swami, all my life I have dedicated to your feet and doing seva. And itna kasht, so much of pain, so much of, takleef I am going through. And I am all alone. Why, Swami? Then Swami says that, yes, you have done again my experience, but do you forget how you used to notice and with the people? How rough you were in your communication interaction. Somewhere you have to face that. Because of your seva and good deeds, here Bhagwan has come to bless you even at this stage, to your doorstep. Now he's telling him, giving him the sanity, why this is happening in life, but whatever good you have done, here am I. So this journey is really, it's like you are close to fire. You'll feel the warmth, you'll feel the heat, you'll get the light, but as you go closer, intensity will increase, test will increase. That's the only way we can be purified. Why? Because when you put something in fire, the gold in fire or whatever stuff, it gets purified, right? So we have to go through that process which he did. So let us understand when we talk about it, it's not a lip talk, but it is actually what it means that yes, Swami, Anyatha Sharanam, we are completely surrendered to you. Take over my life, do what you feel the best. Irrespective of the downfalls that we ever face. Okay, God's liking, again, it remains a topic with 10 minutes. We'll try to touch a couple of slides, but we'll continue. So Bhoga or Bhava, what we offer is Bhoga, with which feelings we offer is Bhava. Bhakti or Puja, are we devoted or we are worshipping? Worship and devotion are two different things. They're not the same. Sadhana or Sadhan, it's depending. We have a massive center and massive flowers and all things loaded, or we have the intensity and purity of that sadhana that we are offering, even though it is one nevedya but full of love and dedication. Or we are talking about Arpan, that is offering, or Samarpan, surrender. What the King Bali did, he offered himself. So his Arpan was his Samarpan. You understand that? It's so different. So what does Bhagwan actually likes? Are we worshipper or devotee? Again, it's a very relevant slide which we flagged weeks and weeks back. What is devotion? Who are devotees? Swami says. Devotion is faith's steadiness. Remember this word steadiness, steadfastness. That is one of the sutras in Patanjali Yoga. Steadfastness means holding it so tight that nothing can lose you. Virtue, fearlessness. Again, fear and faith cannot coexist. When you say I have faith in Swami and then you say, oh Swami, what did you do? That means you didn't have faith. When you have faith means this happened in my life. Okay, it happened. There is something good in it. Fearlessness, surrender and absence of egoism. Worship done however elaborately or pompously is a sheer waste of time and energy. Correct? We see a lot of people around us. Even when we grew up, because I'm from Bihar and my dadi was an ardent Shiva devotee. And she used to every day make 1,008 lingas, out of clay. And she used to do that worship. Very, very ardent. And it so happened, I'll just tell you, how she was darshan in a dream when my dad used to bleed nose. And there was one disease which was not cured right from day one. And she was really fed up. And one fine day, she sat with this grief. that he's going to die if you don't cure him. And Lord Shiva appeared in the dream. And then he gave a very, very peculiar instruction. Put your right toe, your leg, into his mouth and let him suck it. Something, and we don't know. But she actually did that and his bleeding stopped. From that moment, the bleeding stopped. So she was a great Shiva devotee, but doing a lot of rituals. And traditionally, those were the days when you have, not the caste system that propagates, but a caste system which they took otherwise, like Brahmins, and then you have Shudras, and those were quite prevalent in that state. Now, just to bring it down to the level, when she died, father went there, and Baroni, where at the Ganges shore, there was a last funeral rites were being done, and Dad was sitting there and meditating, and then Dad was saying, "What is the use that my mother Shiva was your devotee Shiva?" And he was praying that just as Mr. Upadhyay, uncle, when he prayed, the Narmada stream came, rivers, and filled his pot. If you have done that for your devotees, my mother has been your devotee so long. Can you not make me believe that you have accepted her? And he was crying as he was praying. And when they were sitting near the shore, Ganges shore, his younger brother comes running. It's almost instantaneously. As his prayers are intensifying, comes running. And he says, Bhaiya, Bhaiya, Ganga chadai chho. The river is, the high tide is coming. And there was no timing. High tide was in the evening. And we're talking about morning. Pani chad raha hai. Bhagi yahan se. The water is almost there. So high tide came, took the whole pyre, and they could not get a trace of that pyre. And it went off with her. This is what he does in life after life. So, why pluck flowers and hasten their death? Bhagavan says, why do you want to pluck and hasten their death? If you have no feeling, no emotion, nothing, just bring because if they and then he goes, some of you go around this Nilayam, satisfy yourself that you have done the circumambulation, but they can be called only when your mind circles this place. Again, he goes to a very subtle way to explain. It's a physical circumambulation. There was an Australian devotee who was doing that, around the Ganesha temple, correct? And then apparently she got an interview later on. The Swami said, I had to stop you midway. Why? Because Ganesha came and told me, stop that lady because she's in that hot sun, she's more doing the pradakshina of my temple. This is also in one of the Radio Sai articles I read. So, circumambulation of the mind. I noticed that while your feet is taking you around by force of habit, your tongue blabbers about the fault of others or your price of vegetable or dishes you cook. Before you start on your rounds, which you call pradakshina, give your mind the dakshina to the resident of the temple. That is the first thing and the only thing to do. It's not a uniform. Devotion is not a uniform to be worn on certain days, certain moments. So, kitni badi baat hai. We think we have given 6 p.m. bhajan or lighting of lamp in our house, asatoma, sadhagamaya. So, asatoma, sadhagamaya is only for the 6 to 2 p.m. 2-3 minutes, we are out of that andhakara. Again, we are back into andhakara. It's not for certain days and put aside. A devotee is never separate from God. Bhakti is a state of being one all the time. He has no reasons, devotee has no reasons to love God. That means agenda-less devotion. I'm not praying for something, I'm praying for praying's sake, because I want to connect to you. I want to be with you. That is devotion. The classic example to illustrate the difference between devotion and worship is Ravana was the greater worshipper, while Hanuman was the greatest devotee. देखिए भगवान ने क्या example दिया. Actually, Ravana was very vidwan, very learned, great worshipper. Swami has put him in the category, and Hanuman as devotion, who never learned any Vedas, nothing, but just knew how to serve Lord. That's what Bhoga Raoji used to do. All this, you see, the universities, the hospitals, everything has been built during his time with his complete active participation. When he said, Swami, I cannot meditate. You give me work, I'll do that, but I cannot sit. And Swami said, don't worry. When the whole world says, Swami, Swami, Swami says, Bhoga Rao, Bhoga Rao. Ye devotee ka darja hai. Correct? So, and then the difference between worshipper and devotee is the worshipper, however ardent, sincere in his worship, is rooted in fulfillment of the desires, correct? Your offerings go on increasing depending on the miseries that you are going through, correct? promotion, one offering, and pass O grade not only passing with this grade, so this, so you have different plate, all full with different. When will you ask what I have come to give you for? Bhagwan says, वो कब मांगोगे जिसके लिए मैं आया? And we are not asking that one thing that is come to give. 11:15. We'll continue. 5 more minutes. So again, going into this between Marpan and Samarpan, between worship and a devotee, Guru Nanak Ji visited on his Udasi, was with Bhai Lalo. There was a accomplice of him who used to go around with him, Bhai Lalo. He stayed there for some time. Now Udasi is what I understand is a system where they leave their home to go for a pilgrimage kind of a thing. So it's like a detached sense of being for that period of time. So the first house he visited was of Bhai Lalo. Now Bhai Lalo was a carpenter, a very poor man, a very normal man, and he used to earn with honesty. But there was a king, Malak Bhago, who was a corrupt king. So he asked him to come and visit Guru Nanak Ji, to visit his kingdom also. And then you are staying with him, you are eating with him every day, but you are not coming to my place, you are not eating and sharing food with us. Why? Then Guru Nanak Ji said, well, let me tell you, both the rotis have got different fabric. Then he said, how? So Guru Nanak Ji pulled up the roti, as the scriptures say, from Bhai Lalo and from the king. And as he squeezed, milk came out of Bhai Lalo and blood came out of the king's rotis offered. He said, because you have been looting your subjects, corruption, you have been blood and sweat of the people are being sucked by you. That's why this roti, and that is why it is not qualified. Rather, he went to a devotee, to a person who was a carpenter, honest living, and then he went where dollars didn't matter, divine mattered. So that is again a difference between our worshipper and the devotee. The king might have a big, brigade of offerings and stuff. And same thing happened with Lord Buddha, when he used to always ring the gong when that particular day a person with a higher sense of sacrifice has been met. So when the king decided, okay, if this is the case, let me go and offer, and he took all paraphernalia of stuff. As he was going there, the beggar who used to rely on begging, so she asked him some alms. The king said, okay, I can give one. He gave an apple or a mango, whatever, to the beggar. And she knew that Lord Buddha has this, during the lunchtime, people offer him. And when you see the biggest person who has offered devotion surrender, he will ring a gong. But she went with a feeling to offer him. So as she offered, Buddha rang the gong. Dang, 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 dang. Abhi Raja to aa raha hai. Raja is coming with all that, king is coming with all that stuff. He heard the gong, he was infuriated because he has thought he has brought half the kingdom to offer him. And he goes, how did you do that? You could have waited. Your big guy is coming with all the might and the flight. Buddha said, well, I met the person who has sacrificed most today. I mean, with that, but how come I brought this? Buddha said, no. She's the one who got this out of begging one mango, or perhaps from you. And that's the only thing she has for the entire day. She doesn't know where the next meal is going to come. Even that she has offered me for her. For me, she's the biggest person who has sacrificed today. So I felt it was being to ring the bell. So that's what is the difference between, a worshipper and a devotee. With that, we'll conclude for today. We'll continue with a couple of more things to establish and understand this in Sai parlance, and recalibrate ourselves whether we are going in the right direction, or we are just confining to a worship and understanding that this is the only way a prayer is supposed to be. Okay, so let's end with Onkar and Samasta Loka. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलिए भगवान श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी की जय। Sai Ram, everyone out there. Wish you all a wonderful week ahead, a blessed Sunday, and hope to catch up again next week, either here or online. As long as we are online with Bhagwan, I think that's what matters. Sai Ram. Sai Ram. All right, Sai Ram. So we started with a topic on how our approach should be, or what we understand Swami likes. For that matter, any masters that we believe in, what do they prefer? In which form of worship do we prefer? So we're going to delve a little more on that today. But just to start, it's like a warm-up exercise. You know, every time we go for a main one, we do a little bit of warm-up. So that's important to understand why. I was just going through yesterday, I saw this where Swami has written similar to what we flash. Install a radio receiver, select the wavelength of the station you propose to listen, and tune it correctly to the wavelength. You will then hear the radio program loud and clear. Is it not? Your ear will tell you the accuracy with which you have tuned. Accuracy with which you have tuned. Akin to this, you must enter into a course of spiritual discipline. Similarly, he says, you know, choose any mantra and any incantation of the Lord that pleases you. Mantra, yantra, and tantra, correct? So, mantra is namasmarana. Yantra is again, tantra is the process, yantra is your pure heart, which you offer. So he says, enter anything, meditate on it, repeat it continuously with accurate care and steady attention, tune to the voice of God within you. And that's what he says, follow the master phase, the devil fight with him, finish the game. Follow the master he specifically connotes as the conscience. And this has been such a difficult journey for us. The thing which is so close to us, in us, is so far from us. Correct? And that is what we all have been, you know, looking around. Kasturi kundal vase mrig dunde vanmahi. You know, Kabirdas says that I don't know what you call that kasturi. It's in the foot of the hiran, correct? And the hiran with that smell is so enamored, it's looking around, jumping around to see where it is coming from, where it is coming exactly from its own self. So that's what has happened, and we have forgotten to tune in, which Satsang sometimes reminds us when we come on a weekly basis, or when we tune in between somewhere, to see how we can connect, because there are a lot of disruptions of signal, you know, as the week goes by. Sometimes we are too preoccupied with the work, with the emergencies, especially we are in shipping, so we get emergency, it's 24/7, it can happen anytime. But then in that part of the process also, it's important that when we get into that, offer it, pray to him. And then when you come out of it again, say thanks. That's important. So to reconnect and rewire, it's important. Satsang, why it is important? Swami Vivekananda says, the raindrop from the sky, if it is caught in the hands, it is pure for drinking. If it falls in a gutter, its value drops so much that it can't be used for washing feet as well. If it falls on a hot surface, it perishes. If it falls on a lotus leaf, it shines like a pearl. If it falls on an oyster, it becomes a pearl itself. The drop is same, but the existence and worth depends on the association it makes. Kya sangat mein hai? And that is where satsang gets a lot of potency, in the sense that we share each other's energy to move along. Just like in the office, you have a department, you have one department with several employees, some may be absolutely excellent. So the guys who are really excellent, somehow they are compensating for the weak ones. So as a department, you present certain figure, which is consolidation of all. So satsang, it's important. At least for me, it is important because it helps me to delve. Isi bahane, Saturday goes and Friday evening goes a little bit, get into that more deeply, and helps me to get into that journey a little more. And most importantly, not to forget Swami or the master in the din of this world, because sometimes the overriding situations, your problem, challenges may drown you so much that you will forget. Okay, so we were talking about this purity, correct? Purity in everything that we are talking, because unless there is purity, divinity cannot reflect, right? Even slightest impurity, when there was a disciple who whom Buddha wanted to teach the stillness of mind. Give a very simple example. So he said, go, and there was, go to the pond nearby and throw a pebble and tell me what happens. Can you see the water clearly, or what is the impression? Then he goes, he does that, and he says he can't see it because there's a lot of mud or sediments or whatever, something is obscuring, it's opaque. Now he says you wait for 5 minutes to let it settle. When it settles down, then he can see the clear crystal water through which there's a mud settled. And Buddha says this is what it is. When you allow your mind to settle and withdraw, then the inherent nature shines. And purity allows that our inherent, which is everybody, if Swami has said Divya Rudra, it is very okay. So this purity was important. Now water purifiers, correct? At home, we get blood purifiers, right? We get everything to purify around. In the shipping company, we have oil purifiers. Everywhere we have purifiers. So these purifiers are there in our system to purify the blood, purify the air that we take in, so that in Delhi it is very much required. It's permanently on in my brother's house. By the way, today is his birthday, and I pray to Swami wish him that he comes out of that. Satsang is the purifier of the chitta. Now we are talking about food, body, everything gross, but how the subtle is going to be purified. And satsang is an important part of that purification process, where we sit down, reconnect, and understand where we are, recalibrate ourselves to bring in the purity that is desired for divinity to reflect. Bhagavan will not reflect. Still, there is some ansh of impurity. Swami says there are 4 principles that we must follow. The first principle is Teja Durjana Samasargam. Run away from the bad company. Again, how will you decide what is bad, what is good? That is discrimination. Correct, brother? Buddhi. And this is where the formative years, the Balvikas, gets up, where children start understanding. It's not about some person is bad, but what is bad in him. Not that the person, Swami says, don't hate the person, hate the qualities. There is no enemy. There is no enemy. The qualities are the enemy, right? So that is the first thing. Second principle is Bhaja Sadhu Samat Gamam. That means always be in the company of the holy and the good. Third principle is Smara Nityam Nityam. Always keep remembering God's name. Bear in mind what is impermanent. There is Satyam, Nityam, Anityam. That is permanent and transient. Asatoma Asatya, Tamsoma Jyotirma, Mrityurma Mritam. So from the transient to the permanent, keep remembering this body, this existence is not permanent. It's like a dream when they say. And actually it is documented by so many people who have had out-of-body experiences. So we have to understand and be aware. And the fourth principle is Kuru Punyam Mahoratram. Do meritorious deed. And how do we do meritorious deed? Parokarartham idam shariram. That means seva, Narayan seva. And sometimes, we confine seva to only Narayan seva. It is not. That is where maybe your starting point, where you have been associated Bal Vikas or your childhood, okay, koi garib aata hai, usko khana do, seva. But seva is even at home, when a child helps the parents, or you help your in-laws, or you help your maid to get out of the problem that she's facing, or you help your boss or your CEO or somebody who's in distress, or there is some colleague. When you talk and share and do something about it, seva. And that is important for us. So, Paropkartham idam shariram. Beautifully put. Now, these 4 principles, I don't know where we stand, but definitely we are trying to do the second one. Nityam Anityam, we don't spend too much of time to understand what is permanent, because we are so drowned by the things. And that can only happen if we have time for our individual introspection and meditation. Then you can go deeper and understand. As long as we are in this world, we are part of this, we have been given. And this beautifully tells us how we can purify every aspect. The prayer that we do in Thursday bhajans. Oh Lord, this is what Swami has written for Hislop, Dr. Hislop, when he gave him. Oh Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to you. He is asking Swami, you are empowering Swami, you are giving a power of telling Swami, oh Lord, take my hands. Again, mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langatem girim yat kripam. So, take my hands, let them work incessantly for thee. This is where your Narayan Seva and Paropkaratam Nivam Shariram comes. Take my soul and let it be merged in one with thee. Take my everything. Kitna bada prayer hai. If seriously Swami takes this prayer, take my everything. Khalas. I don't know, devotion khalas, or you become totally Brahmagyan. And we do a lot of lip service when we pray. We don't mean it. That's why he's not taking it. The day you say, take it, possibly Harishchandra said that. And that is where the entire thing, God came and tested him. His kingdom was lost. And he was in that, what do you call, Kabristan. There also he was challenged and tested. When his wife came with a dead son, and then he realized, oh, this is my son. And she said, and he said, no, my dharma of a Kabristan, a dome, is that I must charge money for the burial, for the funeral. अरे अपने बच्चे के लिए भी करोगे? Yes, that is how it is. She didn't have anything. And that's where the rest is his manifestation happened. So take my everything and let me be an instrument. When you say instrument means, it represents total surrender. It's like flute. Swami says, be like a flute, hollow from within, so that I can blow my music through you. Correct? And we are normally not even able to offer that. Okay, so let's understand this. This is an important part. Purity, and this slide gives very beautiful representation. Now, purity of water purifier, when we say what water purifies is the gross part of it. But water in itself has an impact. We all have gone through those experiments, Emoto experiments, where it has been proven how water constituent affects your body and your molecular frame of the water within. And the food that you cook with water again. So purity in profession, purity in sadhana, purity in service, purity of vision, thoughts. Again, it comes from the impulses. You see how they are connected by a chain. You can't have a vision just pure and you have hearing impure. Then you Pacho Indriya, agar, they are contradicting each other. That means they are not in harmony. Then where is the Trikarna Shuddhi? So purity cannot be conditional. If it is there for everything. You can't say I will be very pure when I go to science center. Correct? 100% purity. Oh, khalas ho gaya. The moment you cross and then you go shopping or whatever, where is purity gone? And that is why Patanjali Yoga, it says steadfastness. That is perpetual, everlasting. That is important part for us to understand. Satsang is a purifier for the chitta, for the soul. So this was what we were saying, trying to delve into.
One more thing I want to add. So
Earlier slide. Earlier slide.
Okay. So this good conduct, right, in introduction. So you are asked Krishna that this all sounds very nice to listen. But what if after following all this also, doesn't really give the destination? It doesn't get difficulty and doesn't get that. So Krishna, you are doesn't get that will be attain heaven. And again, he will want to complete his rest of the thing. So anyway, there is no loss in following.
Yeah.
Either you will get moksha, or if not moksha, the second level is heaven. And then again, we born in some yogi family to complete that. So earlier I used to think in reality, in practical life, we never see such examples, right?
Yeah.
But when I heard about Srikant Soda, yeah, then whether to what sister was. He was born in the country of his grandfather himself was a great youth.
Jivan Mukti.
Yeah, Jivan Mukta, Swami himself is Jivan Mukta. And then even by birth itself, he had all this abilities to hear about.
Yes. He used to hear the plants speaking, he used to hear the animals speaking till the age of 13.
Yeah. And then people say, oh, he is some lost soul or something. But he is a...
No, he's a very divine soul.
No, he achieved a qualification, which essentially within 2 years also very few people have.
Yeah.
The amount of grades and all that got in his medical.
Yeah.
He's one of the top doctors.
He got the award also.
The award also. So we can't even say, oh, you will be some great guy. he is an example.
Yeah.
Arpan is remain. He himself once told that he met with a big accident.
Hmm.
And he recovered from that. But what he says, that time Swami came and he said that your karma is over now. Now you can merge in your whatever.
Yeah.
So he said, your mission is still not complete. I would rather stay here and continue the mission. So you can see his level of his.
Yeah.
If somebody says we are getting moksha, I am done, right? It's complete. Because as soon as you come back in the world, there is always a chance that you again get entangled into any of the karma.
Yeah.
He said, no, I think I should need to take forward your mission.
Correct.
And he asked him to send. So he recovered from such a bad accident.
Mm-hmm.
Just to mention about this, how it links to a real world example.
Correct. Yeah, when people say that, there was a guy who said that, he was an atheist, his friend was a believer. He used to say, you understand if there is no God, yes, 5 minutes, but just turn it around. If there is God, you wasted your whole life not believing Him. So whose loss is greater? Based on assumption theory. So, what he was talking about Shrikant Sola and the evolution, sometimes we get disenchanted. Why? Because we have not seen immediate result to the spiritual effort that we have made. Like right now, he's going through cancer, my brother. Or earlier, she had a brain tumor. Again, you can see a different level of acceptance or surrender or self-effort. While you do what you have to do, but the surrender must be there, correct? So you can see how sister did, or brother does, or father did, or somebody does. There is a difference. Why difference? Because individual, I would say, spiritual potential varies. And then again, it is Prabhu Kripa, how he wants to. Like he gave to Brother Shrikant Kola, okay, you can attain moksha. But when you reach that kind of devotion or a stature, then God also gives you option. Correct? Just like employees, those who are very senior, like brother is principal. There are certain teachers who was very experienced, say, "Oh, you can do this, or you decide." But there are certain young ones or the new ones who will say, no, you have to do this. So, yeah, every janma, every effort is useful. Like breakfast you are eating every day, everything adds up to your growth. We may not remember what we ate, it may have been very small, but everything has contributed. Same way, every puja, every prayer, every effort that we do is adding up, inching us closer and closer to somewhere where we will come out of this. So just a reminder, Koham to Soham is an important journey we are making through any part of the studies or introspection or the efforts that we put in. We have dementia, spiritual dementia, where we forget. Swami says, you guys are like dead letters in the dead letter box. This letter boxes, dead letter box in India, where is a box where the letter which doesn't carry where it was sent or to where it is going, either one of them or both. So all those letters, which doesn't have anything clearly specific mentioned, is put in that dead letter box. Swami says, you all are like that. You don't know where you came from and where you are.
For the sake of running our thinking in daily life. See, there is another argument saying that okay, if the whole universe is created and because of the what is called generation, operation, and character, the whole thing is there. So why are you so bothered about it that it is automatically you are going to be completely gone and again you will be born?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is good. So why are you struggling so much? It's rather than just argument. But I think Swami is very clear in that aspect. What is the problem with us as we are talking about the purity, we are just talking about the other aspects of spirituality. The biggest problem that we have is we divide the daily life versus the spirituality. Swami said that there are two different things. It is not the same. So what you do on daily basis matters more.
Yeah.
What is being accumulated to us, as that, at the end of your, you should take the balance of the stuff or the situation of our own growth and evolution. So the constant integrated awareness, we are actually missing the bus. So you come to Sai Center, you worship, then that's what I think is, okay, you're getting, you go to but you get the extra charge, you come back, but again we are one for them. But Swami, in fact, I still remember Kasturi in my grade level, quoting that example of
Yes.
and I want to come and be at your feet. Then Swami said, who is doing that work? Who is doing this? So
whose work is that?
Yeah, whose work is that we are doing? So and then he starts naming. So he has done all that to prove us that he is not different.
Yes.
So we are the ones, we are trying to make the differentiation, which is where we are not getting the right focus. So the purity is a long-term process. It's actually not overnight. Just get some. Unless and until you have that.
Because of Sanchit Vasanas, all those imprints, it's not. But at least we have to be conscious that there is something like that which we have to work on.
You see, brother, I just did yesterday. I was coming by public transport. I saw one lady. She herself cannot walk. Hold the rod. But she was carrying 4-5 bags. She's such a big one. Left side, one right side, and it was just 580 cover short plus 80 plus. So I was just thinking that a person who was not carrying our life properly, but we keep on loading and loading and loading so many things in our daily life and create confusion. So the point is that what we are carrying is important.
Yeah.
So what we are living is important. So we'll have to be very. I think that's where all this spiritual
directions come. That's purity. It helps us to decide when we are in the crossroads. If you have heard Swami's speech somewhere, if you have spoken to someone, exchange, suddenly that crossroad will come and you know what decision to take. So that's a very decisive moment. So we have come from God, and to God we must return, not like the dead letters. So let's be very clear about it. Okay, now coming back to God's liking, there's one where in Rama's time, when the bridge was going to be built up, so everybody was working on the monkeys' trunks. Tiny squirrel was there watching all this and also wanted to participate. So he thought, what and how can I do such a huge bridge? So what will be? So what it did, it started rolling in the sand. So as it was rolling in the sand, it was collecting sand, right? And then it came and then it will drop the sand in that bridge. And this went on continuously, and Rama was watching this. And that's where Lord Rama came and saw this, picked it up, nicely careless, and that's what they say the markings and all came when Rama originally did that blessing. It's a symbolic reminder of Rama appreciating the work that he did. So again, it is not the paraphernalia, it's not about how much, but with what feelings, right? Then we have our own case of Lord Rama, Sai Rama, when we had this student super specialty hospital, and some of you, maybe you were there, I'm not too sure, but this is something which happened, I think, somewhere in 1989. Student, it was really so touching. You see, Swami asked him, should I read your letter? Whatever you wish, Bhagwan. The boy recounted how Bhagwan was constructing the new hospital that would provide care to everyone in the society, and prayed that he wanted to be a part of this mission, just like the squirrel. Yet, being a small boy from middle class, he was not able to do much. Sometimes, you get this feeling. That's why you have anonymous donation of charity, because there is something in you still stopping him. But what he did, he mentioned in the letter for the last month, washing himself, besides not eating chocolates. Boy wanted to offer 100 rupee to Bhagwan, while he was ashamed that he could offer only small. He prayed that if this can buy a brick your hospital, it was worth it. And Bhagwan came out and he read and spoke about this. अब देखिए स्क्विरल और ये बंदा, both stories are so many.
Just to add on to that, the curious incident that happened was Swami denying the donations of crores of
rupees, yes,
from the devotees, and he comes to run and he declares everybody.
Tiger offered also, he had to wait a long time.
Yes.
The first dream that he got of Swami when he was in, I think, California, he was staying there as a young boy. He got Swami's dream there, and that was something beckoning to him. Then he was into whatever, drugs and clubs and stuff like that. And he says that he had to wait for 13 years before Swami could talk to him. But through dreams, Swami was guiding and nourishing him. So this is so important for us to understand. Bhagavan does not want Arpan, he wants Samarpan. He is not Bahya Priya, he is Bhava Priya. Right?
Buddha story told last time, biggest donor of the day.
Biggest donor of the day. Yes. Something like that.
There is one more story like that in Islamic teaching. There is a fire going on in the house. Some house is on fire. So one guy sees one pigeon is bringing water in his beak, like to throw on this. So he started laughing that the pigeon, you think your one drop of water is even going to make any difference? I don't, it is not going to make difference. But when Farishta, they will write the deeds of the people. There will be three people. One who put the house on the fire. One who just kept looking
at it, did nothing about it.
The people who tried to extinguish it. So my name would be the list.
Devotion. Saral Bhav Bhakti, such a simple lady. She could not stand the sacrifice on a marriage day and she escaped the house. And from there her struggle started. But then Matang Rishi was seeing her. Every day she used to clear the path for the rishis so that there is no thorn. So watching and one fine day he said, okay, you can stay. And then before he left his body, he told Rama will come, God will come. And he also told that he will come looking for Sita, but that is all a part of the drama. You see, this is beautifully Swami has explained Ram Katha Raswaini. So when Rama is talking and that dialogue is going, that's a different style stepping. When it is going on, the Sita ko dekha hai, kahan hai, kya hai, main usko dhoondne nikla hu. Then she tells, my guru told that you will come. This is all. So again, her devotion, no packaging, straight from the heart. What I can eat, I must offer. And this is where, in 1970s, when there was a full contingent of devotees from Bangalore, the ladies, they came to Swami. And that time Narayan Seva concept had started. Swami had said, you take out one muthi rice, what you eat, and keep it aside, and once a week you cook, or you cook that and give it to one of the Narayana, at least one per day. And so she was saying, yes, Swami, we are doing that. So one particular lady said, yeah, Swami, I take out, I do, and I cook. And Swami said, okay. So, what rice you make? Swami, yeah, the rice, same rice. No, but for you cook 4 rupee rice, and for that Narayan said, you give 2 rupee rice. And she's still in a mode to argue her case out, because there's so many. Don't do. Swami will say, wait. Swami goes inside, brings a red bag exactly in which he's storing the rice there in Bangalore. Do you remember this bag? This is the rice. Okay.
Swami came to her house. Swami came to her house in form of a beggar.
Okay, this part I have not heard.
Yeah, this is how it happened. So it means this is her luck.
Okay.
This is her luck. Swami himself came to her house
as a beggar.
And then she is giving a 2 rupees.
Okay. How beautiful. Again. So this is. Huh?
Chennai.
2004, there is. So they collected a lot of distributed. this is what I tell to people. I would not market, right? But the people who was a part of the team, I know that. I don't believe I think that's what
Louder, louder.
2004. Okay? I remember that. So they landed this dress they want to distribute to the. When Swami came to know about that, he stopped.
He stopped.
And some of the dresses he sent by container or something like that got stuck in. New dress, distribute that in for village.
Achha.
So it was forced to do like that.
Like that.
Because they could not distribute the dress correct. And the dress is stuck. Whatever container is stuck. And that 2000 December tsunami.
Oh.
After that. This was done in some October, November. End of.
So 2000.
2003 or 4. Since then, this dress got stuck in
Airport.
the port, Chennai port. Right? And what Swami holds, those who are done here, buy new one and give to the people that you are doing that. Don't give used dress. That's number one. Number two, but it was stuck there. And then
for tsunami.
Tsunami. When tsunami comes, the Chennai people, they are collecting all dust. That area, Chennai area, Patnam, all the areas. This dress released and distributed. So the difference, when you are going to donate for your things, as it's not 2 rupees, so give the new one. But when emergency situation comes, tsunami came, they lost everything. For them, they don't look for a new one. But for other people, they are looking for new one. They are not like even below beggars. They are normal people living, you are supporting them, then you give to them, then what they get excited, right? You get a Swami's gift is coming on Narayan Seva, you are getting used as a Swami's gift, what do you think? So, further you are giving the new one. For other people, they lost everything. They are desperate. Okay? For them, this is also useful. Don't worry. So he made a time gap. We never got the time. People never got tsunami time. Right? He had a plan, even for much, to support me. So this is, I really remember that.
He knows the master plan blueprint. Okay, this I need. For this, I have to teach that. Yeah, again, this is important what he's saying. Sometimes things happen in our life. How do we adapt, digest, understand that? Yeah, this is extremely important. There may be signs, you may not be catching it. And that's where tuning is important. If you're tuned and, introspection is there, you will catch His grace in most of the things that are happening. Wonderful. So there we are. Again, Sant Namdev. He collected Ganga water. He was going to Rameshwaram to offer. And then as he closes, and for days and days he's walking, but there's no services, flight or train or whatever. Fire mein chhale pad gaye, blood coming out. That's what scriptures say. He was walking and walking and walking through thick and thin and seasons. Finally, when he sees the temple is about to there and he sees the donkey screeching out of thirst, and many of them are pilgrims are walking across and carrying it for the Abhishekam. This is where spiritual and ritual comes. They're doing the ritual part of it. He saw that what's the use? I can offer it later. Let me offer this water to a dying donkey. And when he offers, there are a couple of Shiva manifested them. The other one says that then he took the other Gangajal, and he went inside. And then the moment he did Abhishekam, Shiva appeared. But whatever it is, the main part of this learning is he saw the Sarva Jiva. Namaskaram, I saw God in that donkey, so I did it. So it's important for us not only to restrict our empathy to humans, for animals, for beings. At least don't kill the cockroaches on a daily basis. You can catch and you can put it across somewhere or do something about it, because We don't know what is adding up, and we come back as four-legged cockroach and then somewhere into looking for a Narayan Seva rice somewhere to get into. So these are important part. Life is reflection with sound and reaction. I think we have done. Another one. This is about, I think again 70s. There was Swami's Sabha going on, basically this was bhajan and all. So one barber, one cobbler was there. The cobbler was looking and hearing all that. So he felt nice. He was thinking that, he had a wish that if Swami can come to my home or whatever. Swami, in the end of that course, comes to him. He said, how are you? What do you want? He said, Swami, if you can come to my home. Okay. Swami said, I will come. Just as he does to any devotee. And then Swami retired, the thing was over. And then suddenly cobbler realized, oh, I did not give him the address. Kidhar aane ka? And so he was sulking and all. So as he was walking the next day in his shop, suddenly he sees a red Mercedes car stops. And then cobbler getting somebody in a car and coming down, and then he sees Swami himself. And then Swami says, come, let's go home. The Swami takes him into the car and drives down. And he's just enamored so much, he's not able to say, but Swami knows where exactly the home is. Swami goes to the home and then sits and has a coffee or whatever. So again, this incident tells us a cobbler who has got no stature as social status, but is being rewarded just by pure intent of having Swami in my house. And this is one of the greatest Shiva devotees, Ganappa. Apparently, some of us, I have not been there, but I think you have been, or Sister Ganga has been. Somebody, I think we discussed one time, Shiva temple now.
Sri Kala.
Kalahasti. Kalahasti Shiva temple, 36 kilometers from Tirupati. Now, what happened with this is very interesting, very, very important to know. As a teenager, he used to hate animal sacrifices. So he said, why are you sacrificing animal for any pujas? Even in our tradition side earlier, when you go there, when you have Upanayanam or anything, they'll come and sacrifice animal to appease the goddess. A lot of parts that superstition still goes. So he sacrifice to bad qualities. Why do you sacrifice an animal? So he was outcasted by his tribes. So Kanappa was all alone. Then he used to visit the jungle, and once he came across Shivalinga, a Shiva temple. So he started, sitting there because he felt a lot of peace. Okay, Lord Shiva in that Shivaling became his companion, his friend. He used to talk, and this is again important lesson that we get from this incident. Don't treat God as picture, but picture as God. When you have the photographs, when you have this, are we communicating to them? It's not just puja time. Even otherwise, a lot of people, including my family also, my sister also, she will sit down, talk and blast out sometime. And then she will take and thanks. It's an important part to show and feel the omnipresence of God. So what he did, he started talking everything, okay? And so once what happened was, okay, so he would offer, he would do some hunting, and then he will, whatever meat remaining, he'll come and offer. So priest started coming next morning, he saw that blood and even bones are around in the temple. And cleaning and purifying. Who is this urchin who's coming and doing all that? So priest started cleaning. Okay, pura clean karke and then go on. Again he will see this. He was not, believing what's going on. Then what happened was, one morning as the priest went about his sincere worship of the lingam, bewildered, cursing the perpetrator of this, something happened. The lingam sprouted eyes. Now the priest got scared. This is some pretatma. There is something going on, because earlier was meat, blood. Now some tantra vidya is going on. Now this eye of lingam, because we are so used to impassive Lord, correct? We cannot expect God to be acting. We want him to be passive inside. Oh, bahar aa gaya. Now the priest ran away from the place. And it actually tells us, how things shape if it happens to us. So the whole eye seemed to have been damaged. Okay. So lingam sprouted eyes and the priest vanished away. and the left eye of the lingam began to bleed. The bleeding was very profuse. Whole eye was damaged. Now, when Kanappa came to the temple, he saw this bleeding eye. He tried to cure and do something about it. He could not stop the bleeding. So he said, okay, let me do one thing. Let me pluck my eye and put in that eye, because this is a healthy eye without anything. So he plugged one of the eyes and placed it on the Shivalinga. So that eye cured, but the other eye started bleeding. And then what to do? So he was not scared of putting the other eye, but he didn't know the moment he will remove, his fear was he doesn't know where exactly the eye is on the Shivalinga. So he put his left foot on the first eye which he had cured. And then as he was going to put the arrow and take out, Lord Shiva appeared, and then rest is history, and then it became, a temple, like brother was saying, Kalahasti temple.
Actually, there is a Sri Kala Hasti, that means spider, elephant, and serpent. Three of them used to worship this linga.
Okay.
So that's how the name Sri Kala Hasti.
Okay.
So really,
so symbolically, Kanappa is a devotee also. He worshipped there, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So the name came as Sri Kalahasti, and that's where the incident happened.
But imagine the surrender. I mean, imagine the devotion. Ye kya examples hai?
Every day the elephant used to come and pour the water and clear off everything. But again, the spider would come and make a mesh to cover the shade. But the serpent would also come and
for the Shivalinga to protect.
So then that's the conclusion. All the three is to fight.
Wow. But irrespective, the best part of learning this is we should not treat God as photo, but photo as God.
Yes.
This is what Kanappa did. He believed in the omnipresence of the Lord. It was not just Shivalinga, but it was like Shiva himself. And why? Because he didn't have these impurities. I think he was very pure in the chitta. और वो तभी आता है. वो experience comes only when we are completely, yes.
So this is what just reminded me last week, there is a